Did you know you can get paid to produce music for sync before it actually gets synced? Yes, you can. And that's what happened on this recent placement breakdown. So I'm going to break it down and I'm going to tell you how all of this works. What's up, people? My name is ClintMusic, and I specialize in producing music for TV and film, and I help other producers monetize their music by teaching them how to produce, prepare, and pitch placement-ready music for TV. So if that's something you're interested in, stick around, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you know exactly when that new content drops. I'm doing another placement breakdown today, and it's actually on Netflix's first Italian reality show. So that's two in my bucket. What was the other one? Young, Famous, and African, or something like that. I think that was the first African reality show on Netflix, and then, or at least to stream, I guess in the States. I don't know how they base this stuff off of, or what they base it off of. But anyways, this one is like an Italian reality show, and I actually had 3 tracks placed on one episode. It was episode 4, season 1. So where's the details? So I got 3 different tracks, and you know what would be crazy though? It would be crazy if all of these 3 tracks were from the same project. That would be crazy. Let me see. No, 2 out of 3 was from the same project. So let's talk about it. Let me tell you, you can get paid before the placement even happens. So when you're working with, a production music library, aka publisher, aka sync licensing company, however you want to phrase it, there are opportunities to produce production music albums. So this particular album was one of those albums where they commissioned me. Pretty much it was a work for hire. So pretty much, they gave me like $675 per track to produce a few tracks for the album. Once they approved the tracks and we finalize everything, we send deliverables. They cut the check for the total amount. So this one was like a little over $2,000 for the tracks that I composed for this, and that was before it ever got placed. There are absolutely opportunities out there where you can get some upfront money real quick. Now, keep in mind, this particular situation was a work for hire, meaning they paid me, $2,000 something. However, I won't be able to get any of the upfront sync fees in perpetuity with this particular deal. But I still get my performance royalties. So every time it airs on TV, airs on Netflix, I'll get paid over and over again from that, but there just won't be any upfront sync fees. So you kind of have to weigh the pros and cons there in each situation, because yes, you could potentially miss out on, tens of thousands more dollars if you do, like the buyout or work for hire where you don't get any more upfront sync fees. Or, it may be something that just doesn't get placed a lot, and you could have passed up a couple bags for, you never know how it'll perform. So you kind of have to just kind of weigh the pros and cons and say, okay, do I need money? Do I want money right now, or can I just hold off? Is there an option to do either or? You can always ask them and communicate and see, hey, can I just forfeit the upfront money and then just get 50% or whatever the respective percentage of ownership is from the sync fees? And sometimes they're cool with that. So this one, I just took the upfront money, and then I get royalties, back-end royalties in perpetuity, meaning forever. So that's cool. So the track is working, which is great. So we got 3 tracks on this one. I know a couple tracks have already gotten placed a bunch of times across different TV shows and things like that. I know for sure on Netflix, like a few different shows on Netflix. So the one I'm going to break down today was one of the 3 that got placed. So let's dig into it. Let's break this joint down. All right, so let's dig into this track. So I start with the hook because that's where like all of my instrumentation is. So the first thing I started with was these bass strings here. And yeah, it just does the same thing for 8 bars. So we got that, and then next up, it's thundering like massively loud. Let's see, what do we have next? Today's video is brought to you by TV Placement Mastery. This is my high-level coaching program for producers to fast-track you to your first licensing deal within 90 days. Now, this is an invite-only program, so you have to apply, and I only work with a few producers at a time. So just go to tvplacementmastery.com or click the link in the description to apply, and hopefully I'll be helping you get to your first licensing deal. Bass strings, and we got these here. Those two instruments right there is driving the whole thing. Like, it's not a lot going on. I feel like this is the common theme. Like, y'all know, like, I just don't put a whole lot in these tracks for TV. All right, so next up, we got more strings. So if you couldn't tell by now, this is more of like a dramatic hip hop, tension hip hop cue. That's what they asked for. So that's what I gave them. So I'm making it, a little dramatic. All right. So next up we got, I think these are like pizzicato strings. Ignore how I have these tracks titled. They're like all brass, and there's no brass. There's no brass in this track. So I think it was like a track I had labeled brass, and I was just, when I get in work mode, like sometimes I am not thinking about these titles, and I'll go back in and retitle them. As you can see, I wasn't even worried about it because it's just a bunch of brass. These are hitting weird. I don't think that's... Let me try and change this. There we go. That's better. All right, so this last part here, starting here, is pretty much like this. I think there's an official, like, legit term for it, but I forgot it. So it's me building up to the sting ending. So I'm just going up half steps all the way until I get to the final note that I'm going to have in the sting ending. So that sounds like this. So I'll rewind it so you can hear it by itself. Again, I feel like the string sound, sometimes these plugins do weird things, which is why I usually print. Let me see. All right, so that's that. That's just kind of helping it build, especially for the final hook. Sometimes I'll throw that in there for like my final hooks. This sound here is it's just a riser, so I'll play that. So I have that like going, transitioning from section to section. And then the next sound, I'm doing the same thing with the with it just kind of building. So I'll play that. And this one's panned more to the right. Right, so let's hear all of that together. There we go. Right, so again, the request was for tension hip hop, right? And then I got a tubular bell in some of the sections here. So, nothing fancy. Oh, and then there's some little sprinkles of ear candy here throughout the track. So here, like, I think this was like mid first verse. And then if we scroll up here, There's another one. And you'll hear the context of it when I go back and play the whole thing. But I like to add little pieces of ear candy throughout the track. I feel like it keeps it interesting, keeps whoever's listening and making decisions, keeps them from getting bored when they're listening through the whole track, and just give them, you know, different things to kind of play with. So we have that. So now last thing to add is just drums. Right, so that's the whole track. I got, you know, the 808s holding down on the low end, and then we just have all strings, tubular bell, and even like an orchestral kind of riser. And then what's this? It's like just a crash. Yeah, I don't even have like a cymbal swell or anything like that. So let's play it from the top, and you can hear the whole thing. So right here, you notice I took a break from the drums. I think it was from the kick, and then let me see. And then I took one of the hi-hats out. Let it breathe like a little bit, like going right before going into the first hook, because it just, again, keeps it interesting. And I feel like it makes the hook a little more dramatic when it comes in, to where it's like, okay, this must be the hook, because, you know, it just stands out more once you kind of let that music breathe and then bring in all the other instrumentation. Again, dropping the drums out, building back up. Boom. And that's it. So, you know what was weird, though? It was something weird going on in this track. So if you listen to this, let me see if I can find it. If you listen to this one and just solo it, it's like, I don't know what was going on. So if I open up the plugin, I was using, well, I guess it says I was using pizzicato strings, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it was how I was playing it, but it was like sometimes it sounds pizzicato, sometimes it didn't. And then it was like, this is like these notes in between the chords that are like hidden. It sounds great though, but I'm like, I didn't play that for real. Like how it sounds. So it was weird. I don't know. I don't know what that was. So that was like, that was the mystery part of this track, is just not knowing where that extra stuff came from with playing those strings. So another thing that can happen a lot when you're creating these tracks for, you know, your publishers, is they can be renamed a lot. Like I think they ended up naming this one Drama. The original title was Symphonic Drama. So yeah, so they retitled it Drama Drama. Sometimes it makes it hard to go back and find the session files, like if they rename it or retitle it. So then I have to like go back and like pull up paperwork showing, you know, when they changed the name and all of that stuff. But you know, no big deal as long as it's getting placed, right? That's what we really care about. So yeah, so that's that one, man. Again, when did I do this? Like I did this track. I don't even know if I have notes. Let me see if I have notes. No, I don't have any notes on it. But I did this track like a minute ago. Okay, I created this in 2019. It's still getting placed in 2023. That's why I love sync. That's why it's so powerful for producers. So if you haven't learned about how to get your music placed in sync, I feel like you should definitely do it, especially while they're on strike. Like you got time to like catch up, get your game up, get your knowledge up, get your catalog up. And the catalog doesn't have to be massive. I think a lot of people make the mistake of saying, hey, like, you know, I got to build this massive catalog of like 2,000 tracks before I start reaching out to publishers. No, you don't. Start with 5. Just get 5 solid tracks. Boom. Start pitching it. You know, it doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to overwhelm yourself. Just start. Like most people fail just because they never start. So make sure you start. If this was helpful, definitely be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And go watch the show. What's the name of the show? I don't even think I told y'all the name of the show. Let me find the name of the show. The name of the show is Summer Job, episode 4. I think the title of it in English is Cards on the Table. So they played 3 different tracks: Pulling My Strings, Drama Drama, and New City Vibes. Go watch the show. See if you can hear the track and see if you can hear where they placed it. And if you find it, tag me on Instagram. I would like to see it. I haven't seen it yet. So tag me on Instagram at ClintMusic if you find out or hear where that track was placed. I think that would be fun. So that's it. I'm out. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace. Why is the lighting so that was a major diff. Why was they turned down so much? Oh my gosh. Now I gotta adjust all of that stuff. All right. This should do. Let's break this placement down.